We're officially 20 days away from the NFL draft. And yeah, we're excited about this life-changing day for the future stars of the NFL. So we're doing a 20-day countdown. The latest on Fernando Mendoza after his pro day coming your way shortly. And what's going on in Philly? Another series of anonymous sources has talk heating up in Philadelphia. Could Jalen Hurts really be on some type of hot seat? Well, someone here thinks so. We'll explain it. Meanwhile, the other Pennsylvania team is still playing the waiting game with Aaron Rodgers. Our Steelers reporter Brooke Pryor is here in-house. She joins us to break down just how long that wait could last. And let's talk about the Raiders. They're not waiting until the draft to land a quarterback this offseason. We saw this news yesterday. Kirk Cousins is going to be coming to town in Vegas. Cousins, one of several key additions under new head coach Clint Kubiak, including Pro Bowl center Tyler Linderbaum and linebackers Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean. A lot of help there potentially for Fernando Mendoza. You talk about timing. Listen to what Cousins told Kevin a few weeks ago about quarterback development.
There was a time when, Aaron Rodgers got drafted and sat for 3 years.
Yeah.
Carson Palmer got drafted and sat for a year. But there have been teams that have said that was the plan, and then week 4, 5, 6, the guy's playing.
Yeah.
I also think that there was a time when coaches stuck around.
Yeah.
And a quarterback learned a system and played in that system for most of his career. The position of quarterback requires a continuity around you that you just don't have anymore. The young guys, you want to give them as much continuity as you can, and that just hasn't been the environment that many guys, including a Sam Darnold, have been given.
Courtesy of This Is Football with Kevin Clark. We have Kevin Clark here today. Great work there, Kevin. We'll get a lot more out of you as we carry along. Mina Kimes, Tim Hasselbeck as well. Kevin, why does this move make sense for Vegas right now?
You just heard it from Kirk Cousins. It creates stability and creates an environment where Fernando Mendoza doesn't have to be a star week one. Raiders fans, clip this, hang a banner, do whatever you want to do, tweet it out. For the first time in 25 years, the Raiders have a good idea. They have a good plan. This seems to be a nice runway where everything is coming together. Kirk Cousins is at best a guy who can start half the season, maybe even into December, and give you good football, let Fernando Mendoza learn the offense. At worst, he's a mentor, a coach in the quarterback room, a coach during training camp, during OTAs, who can install that system. That coaching tree, Shanahan, McVay, Kubiak, that coaching tree loves Kirk Cousins because he knows the offense, he doesn't take many liberties with it, and he puts the ball where it needs to go. He's the absolute perfect mentor for Fernando Mendoza. And in Vegas, this will be the best buddy cop movie of all time.
I agree.
When you look at it from a standpoint of, like I think you said at the worst, Kevin, at the worst, he's learning from somebody, Mendoza that is a master of this offense. Kirk Cousins, whatever people want to say about him, when you look up what he's accomplished in his career, it's been remarkable, and he's done it because he's played, as you kind of referenced, in the confines of this offense. He's studied it the right way, he's learned it the right way, he's played it the right way, and so I think with that, there is so much to be gained from that. Look, it's one thing for a coach to get up there and do an install and take you through something. It's another thing for a guy that has the battle scars to do it in front of you and then also explain to you the why and the mistakes that he's made along the way. And then on the other side of it, as we talk about guys getting thrown out there too quickly, Cousins, like a lot of guys, feel like there's still more in the tank. And so, there is an element of iron sharpening iron here where Cousins is going to feel like, he's got a job that is going to be his at the beginning of the year, and he's going to fight to keep it. That's just how he's wired, and that should make everybody that's a part of that team and that quarterback room better.
Yeah, you make a great point there, Tim. I mean, obviously, the idea here, Mina, is Cousins can mentor Mendoza. But when Mendoza does eventually take over, whenever that happens, you still see some question marks at a key position group.
Yeah, if I was given the Raiders an offseason report card, veteran quarterback, A+. Center, A+, right? Tyler Linderbaum. Wide receiver group, it's a little bit closer to a C there because right now, as constituted, I don't think it's good enough. I like Jalen Naylor, who they brought in, but Naylor, Trey Tucker, who's a speedster, Jack Besh, it just doesn't inspire a ton of confidence for your number 1 overall pick. And when I think about what Fernando Mendoza does well, particularly the best throw in his arsenal, which is that back shoulder ball, I do think they need to add size and contested catchability. The Raiders are picking at near the top of the 2nd round, but when I look at some of the receivers who I would love to see there, Denzel Boston out of UW, heck, Fernando's old teammate, Omar Cooper Jr. would be an interesting option. I do wonder if they might have to jump perhaps the Chiefs at the end of the 1st round and trade back in. And I do think because it's so important to set Mendoza up for success, it would be worth it to give a little bit of draft capital up if you feel that you need to jump back into the 1st round to get one of those receivers.
Yeah, the good thing for them, it is a receiver-rich draft. There's a lot of talent in this draft. I love those names that you mentioned, but there's definitely some receivers that could be game changers right off the bat. It is 20 days until the NFL draft, and for the Steelers, the clock is ticking. Pittsburgh could have a major decision to make as they continue to wait out Aaron Rodgers, or I should say wait on Aaron Rodgers, right, and what he's going to do next season. If they don't get an answer soon, could draft night be the answer? We now welcome in our Steelers reporter, Brooke Pryor. And Brooke, the draft less than 3 weeks away. It's going to be here before we know it. How realistic is it that the Steelers will have a decision from Aaron Rodgers by that Thursday night in Pittsburgh?
Well, Laura, you said you guys are doing the 20-day countdown to the draft. That could also be the countdown to Aaron Rodgers' decision, because I asked Steelers owner Art Rooney II at annual meetings if he expected to have an answer by the draft, and he said yes, that's what he anticipates. It could be wishful thinking because we know Aaron Rodgers works on his timeline and his timeline only. But all indications are that he is going to decide sooner rather than later. When we talked with Mike McCarthy at annual meetings, he was saying, look, I FaceTime with Aaron Rodgers often. He said he talked with him the night before. He said it's every week, every couple days. So they remain in constant contact. By the way, the off-season program schedule dropped today. The Steelers report to OTAs for the first phase on April 7th next week. They have mandatory minicamp June 2nd through 4th. Last year, Aaron Rodgers signed right before mandatory minicamp that was a little bit later in June. I believe it was June 11th, June 10th or so. So if it doesn't happen by the draft, if Art Rooney's wish does not become reality, then perhaps by June 2nd.
That's another good tentpole, though, in this potential timeline. If they don't get an answer, what can you tell us about Pittsburgh's contingency plan at quarterback? Obviously, they're putting all their eggs in this Aaron Rodgers basket, but what if it doesn't happen?
Right. Well, I think one of their contingency plans in Kirk Cousins, obviously now off the board because he is in Vegas. They do have Will Howard on their roster, and Mike McCarthy has been so incredibly high on what he likes out of the 6th-round pick. He even said this week that, look, if it was up to him, if he was drafting last year, Will Howard would not have been on the board there. He also gave us some insight into quarterback traits that he likes, because I think it's a very real possibility that they could draft a quarterback, maybe not in the 1st round. They have other needs to address, but a later round guy. Things Mike McCarthy likes: 10-inch hands,